Hi, I'm Rigger. This is Your Right. And before I get into the video, one thing real quick. Wait. Ah! Wait. You see that? Wait, pay attention. Ah! Oh my god. You see that? Yeah, that blew my mind. Anyway, moving on. I said in my last video I was going to try and make a few lists before RWBY Volume 8 came out. I will stick to my word in principle, because I will make a few lists, as in 2, because I'm making this list as a response to my last one, and then I fulfilled my promise because I have another idea I'm going to try and get out real quick before the volume starts. So, yeah, we'll get to that in a second. Ready? Alright, to get to my real intro, I'm Rigger, this is Your Right, and my last video was to do with things that will happen in the volume, things I'm pretty damn sure about. This is the opposite of that. These are things they should not do. This is the worst options. These are things that I would hate. Now, I'm a pretty positive person, or at least I try to be in creating things. When you're writing, when you're making things, being in a positive environment is the best. So, I try and keep myself in that environment. You see on my channel that I try and be positive, I try and be supportive, but these are things that if they happen, I would hate them. There are things I don't like about RWBY. There are things I don't like about this story. That's just how it is. We're all human. And I'm going to list some things that if they happen will make me mad. Might as well get out there before we start. So let's get started. This is 5 awful options they should definitely not do in Volume 8. Also, as you can probably tell, I sound a bit different. I'm trying out a new mic setup. I'm trying to work on my delivery because my last ones have been a bit quiet. And I am incredibly overtired and may have had a drink or two. So, this is the perfect environment to dive into this kind of video. Let's go. Number 1. The full penny hack. Do not do this. Do not do this. Okay, with the attack on Robin, okay, maybe you hacked her eyes, I don't know. There's different explanations for this. It could be the vanishing between cuts thing, it's fine. But you should not be able to dominate her free will. That is not a thing you should be able to do. Unfortunately, I have to concede that a lot of people's points make sense. This is a very logical option for them to take because Penny would never open the vault rationally. There is very few reasons she ever would because she knows it would doom mankind. She's privy to that information. And hacking her to make her doom mankind would be Watts' ultimate revenge against both Pietro and Ironwood for apparently screwing him. His project was not picked, he hates Penny. Turning Penny into the object that would get the stuff makes way too much sense, and I hate it because this should not be a thing. Now, I concede that while it definitely should not be an option to hack her remotely, just through the airwaves, through Wi-Fi, whatever, that they instead, like half destroy her, bash her brains in, beat her up and steal her, and build a hacking device into her head and turn her into a zombie. That's kind of cool in a body horror kind of way that you can only do with a robot in this kind of show, because you couldn't do all the blood. But even with that, I don't like the idea that technology can take over her soul. In the previous volumes, especially Volume 3, one of the things I really loved, one of the biggest credits I gave this show, is that everyone assumed Penny would be hacked. And they didn't do that. She has a soul. It should override her base brain. Now, if you kill her and take her core like Pietro had, perhaps you can access its memories or its recordings. That makes sense. If you chip into her, you log into her, that makes sense. But you shouldn't be able to control her free will. Her soul should override that. Now, that's not based in logic, that's not based in the real world, that's not based in how computers work, but in this kind of story, the soul should have weight. It's kind of important to everything. It's important to life. It's important to how the gods work. It's important to the history. It's important to everyone's motivations. It's important to how RWBY feels about Summer. It's important to perhaps even, Pyrrha's death and her perhaps leading Jean to answers through the leaf and the spiritual afterlife. The soul should be important. And the fact that it stands to reason the way they get around this is they just hack her because she's a robot and the soul doesn't matter and her identity doesn't matter makes me furious. Let's not do this, please. Usually I would now be calming down, but unfortunately this is point 1 and we have 5 to go through. But I'm ending this one here. My point is made. On to number 2. Oh look, it's Penny again. I wonder what it could be. Yeah, number 2. Don't kill Penny. Please, 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 do not kill her. Penny has died once, and it was meaningful at the time. She's been resurrected once, which is enough of a get-out-of-jail-free card as it is. If you kill her again, you are wallowing and wasting our time in pointlessness, especially this early. Don't do it. Learning to deal with the death of Penny alongside Pyrrha was a huge hurdle and a big step for this show. I am not really that okay with undoing it, but if you're gonna undo it, obviously she makes the most sense. And then you went out of your way to say you can't do it again. Pietro went out of his way to say you can't just endlessly do this. It has consequences. That doesn't mean it puts the weight back on her that her death next time makes more sense just because it would stick. You can't do this again. People got emotionally attached to her, and then you tore her away, and that was great, and it worked. Now, people are trying to become attached to her again, and if you kill her right now, you've wasted everyone's time, and you've not only sullied her life and her first death, but now her second death and her life overall. Let her be something more than the OP character you have to get rid of. Please, I'm begging you. Let's be very real. She didn't have much character to start with. She was the lovable, dorky, weird one who RWBY had a solo sort of relationship with the others couldn't relate to, but it was special and it was neat, and having that torn away from us hurt. And now you've given her a future, given her a life, and given her a role. If you kill her again, it just feels like everything was a waste. Instead, in such a dark show, and a show that is leaning ever darker, let her continue, let her live, and be one of those bright sparks that recovered out of the darkness as the rest of us leads into it. If, that's a big if, you want her to die because you either want to move the powers onto someone else, or you don't want her around because she's OP or whatever else, do it later. Don't do it now. You have a bad habit of killing characters that were only introduced in this volume, and killing them the very next volume as something different, quote unquote, isn't better. Like, oh, you meet Clover, he's a great guy, isn't he great? Oh no, he's dead, don't you care? Oh, you meet Lionheart, maybe you know he's bad, but maybe he'll have a recovery. Oh no, he died, isn't that sad? And now you're like, oh, here's Penny, everything's going great for her. And oh, we maybe kill her? No, she's fine, she survived, it's great. And then kill her the next friggin' season? It doesn't work. Don't do it. If you're gonna do it, draw it way out. Let it get way more attached. Let it be way more integral to the story before you do it again. You need to seriously rebuild those emotional bonds before it's even an option you can look at. And that can't be done in one season, especially in the storytelling of this show. She has to survive this season overall. That's not negotiable. Basically what I'm saying, it's too obvious and it's too easy. Also, on a storytelling level, I don't want some other random maiden. And I don't want it to go to like RWBY, and I don't want it to go to Cinder either. I want her to get double powers. It should be the next maiden who we haven't met yet and we don't care about. Let it stick with Penny for now. Like, we definitely should see the double maiden thing. It shouldn't be a tease that's never delivered on, but not right now. We have other things to do. Penny should just survive. Let it stick. And if you're going to take them away later. I'm done ranting on this one. I've probably run out of images to share. But either way, done with this one, on to the next one. And that's number 3. Oh, gee. Okay, number 3. Cinder's death. Don't do it. Yeah, okay, so I'm looking at my notes, and the others have like paragraphs on them. This has like a sentence. But I shouldn't need more than that. Cinder is equally great and bad. Everyone who complains that she doesn't have enough character and she kinda goes nowhere is completely correct. And everyone that says she's great and we need to keep her alive is also correct. Both of those things. We need to keep her alive. She is great. She's great for hate. She fulfills her role and she definitely should be involved in the plot going forward. She's also empty and missing a backstory and missing the motivation that we only know teasers of. So fill it in, give her the backstory, but do not do the thing that you know you want to do, which is spend time giving her the backstory, humanizing her, making her real to us, giving her the insight on her life, how she works, how everything goes for her, maybe make her sympathetic, make us see things from her point, and then kill her before we get to explore those things, rather than have her carry on as a character with those things in our mind. It's way more interesting to not do that. I know the temptation, it's there. Make everyone care, and just as they care, you rip it away, and it's so horribly sad, and the audience will feel sad, and it'll feel like a loss. But if she's gone, the whole middle of this story feels empty. It's just Salem left as the end goal with some other random mini-bosses to get through. You need Cinder here. She's the personal one. Like, Jean has to get even, Salem has to get, like, her way around, and she has to get around Cinder. RWBY has to get equal with Cinder, and Cinder wants to get equal with RWBY. Don't kill her. It's such a waste. You really need to fill in that backstory, but getting rid of her is just awful. So don't do that. Even if you're not going to give her the backstory now. You should be giving it, like, now. It's, like, way too late, but if you're going to make it from Atlas, fill it in now for this one. Perfect. Give her the arc, and then we move forward knowing her arc, knowing her story. But do not do nothing. Like, I'd rather you do nothing than kill her, but don't do nothing either. Just do something with her, make it worthwhile, and make her matter, because she needs to be here for the rest of the story. So if she's going to be here, make it serious, make it fulfilled, make it worthwhile. This is your chance. Don't do nothing, don't leave it empty, and please don't kill her. There's so much more we need to see. And that takes me on to number 4, which I guess I'm less mad about, but it just makes no logical sense, and it's the other thing, and I'm putting it in here because it's like the internet's sort of collective theory or ideas or reaction, which is kind of fair given the trailers, but you know, let's look at it for real. Number 4, Oscar's death. Just don't. No, I'm not on the Oscar protection squad. I'm not, oh my god, little baby has to be protected. And I'm also not heartless, and I don't see, oh my god, this innocent kid shouldn't be killed for all of this stuff he didn't ask to be involved in. I'm in, I guess, the middle ground. I'm in the storytelling ground. Oscar serves a purpose. He needs to keep fulfilling that purpose, and like replacing him or starting over makes no sense, and no one wants that. So don't kill him. Let me explain. So right now, Oscar's purpose is to be an innocent character and a voice of reason, which is great as his own character, but he's also Ozpin's host. We need Ozpin. Like him or hate him, we're going to need him for everything at Shade. We're going to need him to explain things. We need him for showdowns with Salem. We need him for a lot of things. We need him to figure out what's going on at Beacon when they get back to there. We just need his presence. Now, he shouldn't overtake Oscar either. That's a whole nother issue. But my point is, we need Ozpin around. So if you were going to kill Oscar, Ozpin would have to reincarnate again. Now, not only is it suggested that it's weird and interesting that he reincarnated so quickly and found his way back to the group, that was luck or destiny or whatever. But not only those things, but also Oscar has finally become integrated with the group. You know, you can look back at Jean saying this group isn't the same without you. Oh, the team, whatever. We've learned who he is. We know his character. We know his traits. If you kill him just to upset everyone, just to have a meaningful death in quotes, and we still need Ozpin around, which we clearly do for just story reasons, you're gonna have to have him reincarnate again in someone else and do all that learning again, get used to everything again. This is the story, this is how it goes, this is the team, these are the people. You have to get attached to them, become part of their party, adventure with them. Do you want to go through like 2 or 3 seasons of that again before he comes to terms with it and is like cool with it? No, you don't, because it'd be a waste and a repeat. No one needs that. Even if he reincarnated in someone we knew, it still is weird and silly. Oscar needs to keep fulfilling that role. Now, I'm putting this one, I guess it's higher on the list than the others, but I'm putting this one late in the list because I don't think it's going to happen. Like, it would be stupid to do. So I don't actually think there's a chance. But I'm putting it in here anyway because it's a point of conversation in the fandom. It's a point of conversation with people after the trailers for obvious reasons. I don't know how he's going to get out of it specifically. I do think he's going to get kidnapped. I don't know all the details, but my point is he should not die, like, at all. There's just no... I mean, if you want to kill him at the end, maybe, I guess, but it's kind of dumb. him and Ozpin should come to like a thing, and they should live on. Ozpin should die from his brain, and Oscar gets to live on. What? I'm going into other crap. Point is, like, just don't kill Oscar. We need him. He doesn't deserve it. It wouldn't be as impactful as you think it is, and the time to rebuild afterwards would just be a waste of time. So don't do it. Please and thank you. Alright, with that covered, I guess we're on to the last one, and this is number 5, the last awful thing they shouldn't do, and that's give the team a Deus Ex Machina. Just don't. Do not. Okay, so what do I mean? Well, I guess most of you probably know what a Deus Ex Machina is. It's something that comes out of nowhere and saves everyone. Now, my example for this for RWBY is absolutely something like Silver Eyes. Now, yeah, you can say Silver Eyes was quote-unquote foreshadowed because of one random line at the beginning of the series that turned out to wrap around and come back. That's foreshadowing in the simplest form. It's like, yeah, you mentioned a thing and then explained it 3 seasons later. But you know what? We all let it go because it's part of the grander story, and there were losses to go along with it. It didn't just save the day. Like, Pyrrha died. Like, you know, we had some real consequences. It just got RWBY out of dying, and it had some repercussions for the villains. So we let it go. But you cannot give them a Deus Ex Machina escape out of this thing. I don't want any lucky saves. I don't want people coming in from the outside to ward them off. I don't want Gira showing up with his new Faunus people. I don't want some weird signal getting out and the other kingdoms rally and appear. I don't want Raven opening a portal and saving anyone. Like, that's a fun idea, and I've mentioned it myself as a joke, but it should not actually happen. They should have to deal with what's in front of them because it should be serious. It should impact everyone. Everyone should be scared of what happens afterwards, and everyone should have to deal with it and learn to be stuck with the weight of their decisions and be stuck in the situation they're in and have to face this evil. No get out of jail free cards, no easy escapes, no big saviors. You gotta deal with this. That's how it should be. Now, if you want to say RWBY activates a Silver Eyes and takes out, like, the Whale Grim and a huge bit of the army, or they do something clever and take out a huge bunch of soldiers, that's fine. You're working with things you've established. But no special magic should come out of nowhere. No people we didn't know about come out of nowhere. No one makes an impossible journey in too short a time to save them. You gotta deal with what's in front of you, and what's in front of you is very scary, and they should have to face that. If you chicken out of that, you've made a waste of this. This is your first huge moment since Volume 3 to really put the weight on characters. Please deliver on it. Don't let them weasel out of it. They should end this volume running away, injured, with losses, and scared. They shouldn't win, they shouldn't get a victory, but even if they did, it would be better than giving them a magic, get out of jail free, everything's fine card, delay it again. Deliver on this. And that's the last one. That's the unforgivable sin. Honorable mentions here at the end. Torchwick should not return. Who would have thought? Emerald and Mercury should not randomly appear. I have ideas for that are funny, but it shouldn't happen. I think that's all in my mind for now. But anyway. That is 5 awful decisions they should not make for this volume. I'll end it here. If you like this content, if you agree with me, or whatever, there's a like button for that. There is a button for if you didn't like it too. If you have anything to talk about, any suggestions, any ideas, I'd love to read about them down in the comments. If you know anyone who'd enjoy this content, please share it around because that'd be much appreciated. Subscribe if you want to see more from me. If you have any thoughts or opinions you'd like to address to me further, you can find me over on Twitter at YouAllWrite. Believe it or not, despite my tone, I've had a lot of fun making this video. I've had a lot of fun recording this. I hope that you like the style. I'm quite a fan of it myself, actually. I'm quite enjoying recording this, which is a change. If you saw what the setup looked like for this, you would think it was ridiculous. But all that aside, thank you so much. My name is Rigger. I really, really hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope I did alright.